Hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everybody who is here with us right now. Live. We're doing it live. Today I have a Speedpaint for you, a Speedpaint Speed Pixel. We love these. And today it is a Wendigo, a mythical creature of sorts who likes to haunt and hunt and do all murderings of usually of pretty much anyone who's in the way. If you've ever played a game like Outward has a Wendigo in it, and I believe the Dark Pictures Anthology, whatever it's called, Until Dawn, one of those games, I think that's got a Wendigo in it. Basically, it's a big creature with like some kind of animal skull and antlers and fur. So here we are, drawing a Wendigo. And I've blocked out the shapes, and if you've seen any of these before, you'll know it's an iterative process. So right now I'm blocking in the fur, so I'm going for a bit of like a Akira Toriyama type of thing with the big blocky hair strands, and leaving it there for now, getting the nostrils in and the skull. So what you saw at the start as well, just to backtrack a little, was the Skeleton King, who is another boss in the game, and I've basically used the skull and the tones from that piece to carry through to here. So there's a level of consistency between any kind of bone creatures and bosses. So the background's all going to be the same for them. So that's why I think the consistency was important for me to get right with these ones. So I wasn't happy with how sort of creepy it was looking, evil it was looking, so I spent a bit of time just refining things a little bit and getting that fur a little bit better. I'll just tell you now, spoiler alert, for 8 minutes time, I'm not happy with how the fur's turned out, so we may change that. So what you see here is I'm resizing you might have missed that text there. Resizing the pixel art I've done to the boss card. Now what I've realised is that the boss cards haven't been updated in roughly 3 years. So the old artwork is not to the same scale that I want to carry on throughout the rest of the game. So the character pieces are all resized to like 1.4 or 1.5 times. So, sorry, that's wrong. To either 1,400% or 1,500%. So these bosses are resized to 1,500%. And so that leaves loads of room, whereas before they were about 2,000%. And I just think that they could have been better, they could have had more detail, so I've kind of committed to that now. Which unfortunately means I've got to reassess all of the artwork for the current 3 bosses, as well as do this Wendigo, which is finished now, and then do the final boss of the 5 that are going to be included in the base game, called the Baba Yaga. So the Baba Yaga needs doing as well, and she's kind of 3/4 of the way there. So once they're all done, we'll be able to send things off to print and whatnot. So, but more on that another time. So here you can see me kind of trying to block in this fur. It looks more like a gorilla suit, which is again why I'm not really overly thrilled with it. But tell me what you think. I'd love to know. Blocking in some more of this skull now, trying to make it look a little bit more detailed. It's not necessarily following a particular anatomy of any kind of animal. It's just mythical, fantasy, animal skull. And I wanted this sort of front to look a bit more like there was maybe a large horn there or something when it was alive. So I'm making that hole a little bit bigger, giving the eyes a little bit more scariness. I was using a few references. I initially did a sketch of the Wendigo in my sketchbook several weeks ago. For those who follow me on socials, you'll probably have seen them. they basically formed what we have now. But as I was doing this, I wasn't happy with a lot of the elements, so I kind of pulled up a couple of pictures of Wendigos from other materials like D&D and such, or Wendigos that people have made for D&D. Try to use some of that as reference as well, because the idea is I don't want it to be too scary, you know. Like, at the end of the day, I think a lot of youngish kids are going to be playing this. It's meant to be a gateway to D&D, right? So I want parents to be sat down playing this with maybe 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, something like that, so that, you know, families can enjoy it. Basically, that's the whole point. So I don't mind like the sort of small level of creepiness that's kind of prevalent throughout some of the artwork, but I don't want this to be scary for kids, because kids are going to play it no matter what age I put on the box. It's a bit like Call of Duty. You put 18 on it, or 16, or whatever it is these days, and you still get 8-year-olds or 4-year-olds or 3-year-olds throwing hands and can beat me in a 1v1 on Rust. It's just the way it works. So in sort of good conscience, I want to make sure that decision's made, because no matter what I put on the box, kids are going to play it. So refining some of this hair a little bit more. Like, it's meant to be like really thick, chunky, sort of raggedy fur. This creature's been like in the woods for millennia, even. You know, a long time. A long time ago, in a forest far away, the Wendigo was... Nah, can't really do that. That's not what this channel's about. So just resizing it to the current boss sort of area. See that we're going in the right direction. I usually do this once or twice through the process to make sure that, number one, primarily I'm working to the right area, but number two, that so I'm not kind of wasting the time and resources on refining, say, his hand, which is all the way at the bottom, which you just can't see on the boss card. So if I spent loads of time on this hand and, you know, an hour later you don't even see it on the card, it'd be stupid. So check as you go. It's a bit like tasting your food when you're cooking. You want to make sure you just taste as you go. So I'm really unhappy with this fur at this point, so I decided to pinch from one side and copy it over, because it's this sort of big chunk that I don't really like. It just doesn't look refined enough, so I've pinched that and just kind of wobbled it about a bit and modified it, made it fit, made it better. So then it does fit. Look at that. It's always very, very trial and error with this kind of stuff. Then you got a bit of the backlight in there from the torch that's on the sconce on the wall of the catacombs. Trying to integrate the boss sort of artwork into the background as well. Because everyone knows that's where a good boss fight takes place, is in some dark underground weirdness. This is pretty much it for another 20 minutes. Nah, it's not the 20 minutes. All in all, this piece took me, I think it was 3, so if I could check, I suppose, but we're playing now, so I can't. I think it took about 3 hours and 40 minutes, maybe 3 hours 50. But the way, obviously, my home works is that was not 3 hours and 50 of straight drawing or pixel arting or whatever we call it. It was 15 minutes and then I had to go and sort one of the kids out, or 15 minutes and then I thought, I need a cup of tea. 20 minutes, half an hour. Sometimes I think the longest I sat down was for about 40 minutes and then I had to get up and get something, all that kind of nonsense. So that 3 and a bit hours was spread over a whole day. It just made me long for the days, years from now, where I can be sat and just doing this as a job. This would be, I'd just be doing artwork, and the quality of it would be so much better too. Can't wait. That's the goal, guys. Help me get there. Buy the game when it comes out. like and subscribe, smash that like button, all that good jazz, because it really does help. All the engagement you can possibly do, the likes, the comments, the shares, massively appreciate it, because that's how you get better on the social medias. They love that kind of stuff. So here we go. I think finally we're done, and then when I get it all framed, I wasn't exactly happy with the fur. It sort of stands out a little bit too much. So we go back in and start just putting some teeth in, because I also didn't like how he didn't have many teeth. So I wanted to make it look more like an animal skull. So I chuck a couple of bits of teeth in there, and then just refine some of the fur a little bit further down the bottom too. It was just too bright. Just too bright. He looked too clean for a scraggly ass monster. You know, he's supposed to be hunting for millennia, like we said. He needs to be better. So that's it. All done. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.